prime duty. Considering these points, he killed Ramaharsana Sutta simply by striking him with a kushastra, which was nothing but a blade of grass. If someone questions how Lord Balram could kill Ramaharsana Sutta simply by striking him with a blade of kusha grass, the answer is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam by the use of the word Prabhu, Master. The Lord's position is always transcendental, and because he is omnipotent, he can act as he likes, without being obliged to the material laws and principles. Thus, it was possible for him to kill Ramaharsana Sutta simply by striking him with a blade of kusha grass. So that's where we stop. We continue. At the death of Ramaharsana Sutta, everyone present became much aggrieved, and there was roaring and crying. Although all the Brahmanas and sages present there knew Lord Balram to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they did not hesitate to protest the Lord's action, and they humbly submitted. Our dear Lord, we think that your action is not in line with the religious principle. Dear Lord Yadunananda, just 1 minute now. Let me turn on music's background is good. Dear Lord Yadunandan, we may inform you that we Brahmanas posted Ramaharsana Sutta on that exalted position for the duration of this great sacrifice. He was seated on the Vyasasana by our election. And when one is seated on the Vyasasana, it is improper for him to stand up to receive a person. Moreover, we awarded Ramaharsana Sutta an undisturbed duration of life. Under the circumstances, since your Lordship has killed him without knowing all these facts, we think that your action has been equal to that of killing a Brahmana. Dear Lord, deliverer of all fallen souls, we know certainly that you are the knower of all Vedic principles. You are the master of all mystic powers. Therefore, ordinarily, the Vedic injunction cannot be applied to your personality. But we request that you show your causeless mercy upon others by kindly atoning for this killing of Ramaharsana Sutta. We do not, however, suggest what kind of act you should perform to atone for killing him. We simply suggest that some method of atonement be adopted by you so that others may follow your actions. What is done by a great personality is followed by the ordinary man, unquote. So the Lord replied, quote, yes, I must atone for this action, which may have been proper for me, but it is improper for others. Therefore, I think it is my duty to execute a suitable act of atonement enjoined in the authorized scriptures. Simultaneously, I can also give this Ramaharsana Sutta life again with a span of long duration, sufficient strength, and full power of the senses. Not only this, if you desire, I shall be glad to award him anything else which you may ask. I shall be very glad to grant all these boons in order to fulfill your desires. So this statement of Lord Balram definitely confirms that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is free to act in any way. Although it may be considered that his killing of Ramaharsana Sutta was improper, he could immediately counteract the actions with greater profit to all. Therefore, one should not imitate the actions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should simply follow the instructions of the Lord. All the great learned sages present realize that although they considered the action of the Lord Balram to be improper, the Lord was able to immediately compensate with greater profits. Not wanting to detract from the mission of the Lord in killing Ramaharsana Sutta, all of them prayed as follows. Quote, Our dear Lord, the uncommon use of your kusha weapon to kill Ramaharsana Sutta may remain as it is. Because of your desire to kill him, he should not be brought to life again. At the same time, your Lordship may remember that which sages and brahmanas voluntarily gave him long life. Therefore, such a benedictions should not be nullified. Thus, the request of all the learned brahmanas in the assembly was ambiguous because they wanted to keep intact the benedictions given by them, that Ramaharsana Sutta would continue to live until the end of the great sacrifice. But at the same time, they did not want to nullify Balram's killing him. Haribol. The Supreme Personality Godhead therefore solved the problem in a manner befitting his exalted position and said, quote, Because the Son is produced from the body of the Father, it is the injunctions of the Vedas that the Son is the Father's representative. Therefore, I say that Ugra Shrava Sutta, the son of Ramaharsana Sutta, should henceforth take his father's position and continue the discourses on the Puranas. And because you wanted Ramaharsana to have a long duration of life, this benediction will be transferred to his son. The son, Ugrashrava, will therefore have all the facilities you offer, long duration of time in a good and healthy body, without any disturbance, and full strength of all the senses. Lord Balram then implored all the sages and brahmanas that aside from the benedictions offered to the son of Ramaharsana, they should ask from him any other benedictions, and he would be prepared to fulfill it immediately. The Lord thus placed himself in the position of an ordinary Kshatriya and informed the sages that he did not know in what way he could atone for his killing of Ramaharsana. But whatever they would suggest, he would be glad to accept. So the Brahmanas could understand the purpose of the Lord, and thus they suggested that he atone for his action in a manner which would be beneficial for them. They said, quote, "Our dear Lord, there is a demon of the name Balwala. He is the son of Evala, but he is a very powerful demon, and he visits this sacred place of sacrifice every fortnight on the full moon and moonless days, and create a great disturbance to the discharge of our duties in the sacrifices. A descendant of the Dasrath family, we will request you to kill this demon. We think that if you kindly kill him, that will be your atonement on our behalf. The demon occasionally comes here and profusely throws upon us contaminated, impure things like pus, blood, stool, urine, and wine. And he pollutes this sacred place by showering such filth upon us. After killing Balwala, you may continue touring all the sacred places of pilgrimage for 12 months, and in that way you will be completely freed from all contamination. That is our prescription. So thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the second volume, 23rd chapter of Krishna, titled The Killing of Dantavakra, Vidura, and Romaharshana. So we'll start the chapter number 24, the liberation of Balwala and the Lord Balram's touring the sacred places. Lord Balram prepared himself to meet the demon Balwala. At the time when the demon usually attacked the sacred place, there appeared a great hailstones. The whole sky became covered with dust, and the atmosphere became surcharged with a filthy smell. Just after this, the mischievous demon Balwal began to shower torrents of stool and urine and other impure substance on the arena of sacrifice. After this onslaught, the demon himself appeared with a great trident in his hand. He was a gigantic person, and his black body was like huge mass of carbon. His hair, his beard, and his mustache appeared reddish like copper. And because of his great beard and mustache, his mouth appeared to be very dangerous and fierce. As soon as he saw the demon, Lord Balram prepared to attack him. He first began to consider how he could smash the great demon to pieces. Lord Balram called for his plough and club, and they immediately appeared before him. The demon Balwal was flying in the sky like a Trinapat. And at the first opportunity, Lord Balram dragged him down with his plough and angrily smashed the demon's head with his club. By Balram's striking, the forehead of the demon became fractured. There was profuse flow of blood from his forehead, and he began to scream loudly. In this way, the demon, who had been such a great disturbance to the pious Brahmanas, fell to the ground. His falling was like a great mountain with a red oxide peak being struck by a thunderbolt and smashed to the ground. The inhabitants of Naimisharanya, learned sages and brahmanas, became most pleased by seeing this, and they offered their respectful obeisances to Lord Balram. So they offered their heartfelt blessing upon the Lord, and all agreed that Lord Balram's attempt to do anything would never be a failure. The sage and brahmanas then performed a ceremonial bathing of Lord Balram, just as King Indra is bathed by the demigod when he is victorious over the demons. The brahmanas and sage honor Lord Balram by presenting him first-class new clothing and ornaments and the lotus flower garland of victory, the reservoir of all beauty, which was never to be dried up, being in everlasting existence. So that Balram killed Balwal, and before that he killed Ramaharsana Sutta, and before that Dhenukasur. So those are the demon Balram killed. If anybody knows any other demon killed by Balram, please say so. After this incident, Lord Balram took permission from the Brahmanas assembled at Naimisharanya and accompanied by other Brahmanas went to the bank of river Kausiki. After taking his bath in his holy place, he proceeded toward the river Sarayu and visited the source of the river. He began to travel on the bank of the Sarayu river, and he gradually reached Prayag, where there is a confluence of three rivers, Ganga, Yamuna, and Saraswati. Here also he regularly took his bath, worshipped the local temple of God, and as it is enjoyed in the Vedic literature, offered oblations to the forefathers and sages. He gradually reached the ashram of the sage Pulaha, and from there went to Gandaki on the river Gomti. After this, he took his bath in the river Vipasa. Then gradually he came to the bank of Sona river. The Sona river is still running as one of the big rivers in Bihar province. He also took his bath there and performed the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. He continued his travel and gradually came to the pilgrimage city of Gaya, where there is a celebrated Vishnu temple. According to the advice of his father Vasudeva, he offered oblations to the forefathers in this Vishnu temple. From here, he traveled to the delta of the Ganga, where the sacred river Ganga mixes with the Bay of Bengal. This sacred place is called Ganga Sagar, and at the end of January, every year there is still a great assembly of saintly persons and pious men, just as there is an assembly of saintly persons in Prayag every year, which is called the Magh Mela Fair. After finishing his bathing and ritualistic ceremony at the Ganga Sagar, Lord Balram proceeded toward the mountain known as Mahendra Parvat. At this place, he met Parshuram, the incarnation of Lord Krishna, and he offered him respect by bowing down before him. After this, he gradually turned towards southern India and visited the bank of the river Godavari. After taking his bath in the river Godavari and performing the necessary ritualistic ceremony, he gradually visited the other rivers, the Vena, Pampa, and Bhimarathi. On the bank of river Bhimarathi, there is a deity called Swami Kartikeya. After visiting Kartikeya, Lord Balram gradually proceeded to Sailapur, a pilgrimage city in the province of Maharashtra. Sailapura is one of the biggest districts in Maharashtra province. He then gradually proceeded toward the Dravida Desh. Southern India is divided into 5 parts called Panch Dravida. Northern India is also divided into 5 parts called Panchagaura. All the important acharyas of the modern age, namely Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Vishnu Swami, and Nimbarka Swami, advantage themselves in these Dravida provinces. Lord Chaitanya appeared here in Bengal, which is part of the 5 Gauradesh. The most important place of pilgrimage in South India or Dravida is Vaikunthachal, commonly known as Balaji. After visiting this place, Lord Balram proceeded toward Vishnu Kanchi, and from there he proceeded on the bank of Kaveri. He took his bath in the river Kaveri. Then he gradually reached Rangakshetra. The biggest temple in the world is in Rangakshetra. And the Vishnu deity that is celebrated as Ranganath. A similar temple of Ranganath is in Vrindavan, although it is not as big as the temple in Rangakshetra. While going to Vishnu Kanchi, Lord Balram also visited Shiva Kanchi. After visiting Rangakshetra, he gradually proceeded toward Mathura, commonly known as the Mathura of southern India. After visiting this place, he gradually proceeded toward Setubandh. Setubandh is a place where Lord Ramchandra constructed the stone bridge from India to Lanka. In this particularly holy place, Lord Balram distributed 10,000 cows to their local Brahmanas priest. It is the Vedic custom that when a rich visitor gives to any place of pilgrimage, he gives in charity to the local priest gift of horses, cows, ornaments, and garments. This system of visiting places of pilgrimage and providing the local Brahmana priest with all necessities of life has greatly deteriorated in this age of Kali. The richer section of the population, because of its degradation, in Vedic culture is no longer attracted by those places of pilgrimage. And the Brahmana priest who depended on such a visitor have also deteriorated in their professional duty of helping the visitors. These Brahmana priests in the place of pilgrimage are called Panda or Pandit. This means that they formerly were very learned Brahmanas and used to guide the visitor in all detail of the purpose of coming there. And thus, both the visitor and the priest were benefited by mutual cooperation. How much time do we have still? It is clear from the description of Srimad Bhagavatam that when Lord Balram was visiting the different places of pilgrimage, he properly followed the Vedic system. After distributing cows at Setubandh, Lord Balram proceeded toward the Rutamala and Tamraparni rivers. These two rivers are celebrated as sacred, and Lord Balram bathed in both. He then proceeded toward Malaya Hill. This Malaya Hill is very great, and it is said that it is one of the 7 peaks called the Malaya Hills. The great sage Agastya used to live there, and Lord Balram visited him and offered his respect by bowing down before him. After taking the sage blessings, Lord Balram, with the sage permission, personified toward the Indian Ocean. At the point of the cave, there is a big temple of the goddess Durga, where she is known as Kanyakumari. This temple of Kanyakumari was also visited by Lord Ramachandra, and therefore it is to be understood that the temple has been existing for millions of years. From there, Lord Balram went on to visit the pilgrimage city known as Falgunatirth, which is on the shore of the Indian Ocean or on the Southern Ocean. Falgunatirth is celebrated because Lord Vishnu, in his incarnation of Ananta, is lying there. From Falgunatirth, Lord Balram went on to visit another pilgrimage spot known as Pancha Apsaras. There also he bathed according to the regulative principles and observed the ritualistic ceremonies. This site is also celebrated as the shrine of the Lord Vishnu. Therefore, Lord Balram distributed 10,000 cows to the local Brahmana priest. From Cape Comorin, Lord Balram turned toward Kerala. The country of Kerala is still existing in South India under the name of South Kerala. After visiting this place, he came to Gokrunatirth, where Lord Shiva is constantly worshipped. Balram then visited the temple of Arya Devi, which is completely surrounded by water. From that island, he went on to a place known as Surparka. After this, he bathed in the river known as Tapi. Mm, Tapi River is near Surat, where I'm from. Payush, Payushni and Nirvindya, and he came to the forest known as Dandakaranya. This is the same Dandakaranya forest where Lord Ramchandra lived while he was in exile. Lord Balram next came to the bank of the river Narmada, the largest, biggest river in central India. On the bank of the sacred Narmada river, there is a pilgrimage spot known as Mahismati Puri. And after bathing there, according to the regulator principles, Lord Balram returned to Prabhas Tirth, wherefrom he had begun his journey. So he finished the whole circle. What all the names on the journey. Haribo. It's 6:55. We should stop here. And today I have invited His Holiness Dada Raman Maharaj to take breakfast and lunch together brunch. So before that, I would like to have little work in my